Alice in Borderland is known for its dangerous and adrenaline-filled games. This Netflix series is a brilliant, but bloody masterpiece related to winning games in order to survive. Although it has not been as popular as Squid Game, it was released much earlier. The Japanese have been one of the pioneers concerning survival games, but this particular series has been liked by many for the story of the characters and the adrenaline rush of the games. All Alice in Borderland games have varying degrees of difficulty, classified according to the suit of cards to which they belong. Swords represent physical games. Clovers represent balance games, that is, they require teamwork to survive. Diamonds represent games of intellect and hearts represent psychological games, and if you lose it will always result in instant death. But regardless of the classification, all games are considered difficult due to the fact that if you fail you die, and that increases the level of tension, making all games very challenging. That's why today I'm going to tell you the most tense Alice in Borderland games. But first remember to subscribe to this channel so you can see more videos like these. Let's start with Hide and Seek, 7 Hearts. This 7 Hearts game involved Erisu, Chota, Karubi, and Shibuki. The Hearts games are known for psychological warfare, as players must play with each other's hearts, causing them to betray their allies. As the card had the number 7, it is considered a strong game, as the higher the number the harder the game is expected to be. In this game, all players are greeted with an arsenal of weapons and an explosive collar around their neck. One player is chosen to be the wolf at random, while the other 3 become sheep. These 3 players can become the wolf by making eye contact with the selected player. When the time is up, the sheep will be eliminated by their explosive collar and the wolf will survive. Some people think that this game could be won in another way because they offered some tools before starting, but according to the instructions given, the wolf will be the only survivor. This game was one of those that traumatized Erisu, as he had to eliminate his friends in order to survive, making him feel guilty for being alive. Solitary Confinement, Jack of Hearts. The Jack of Hearts game from Season 2, Episode 3 was revealed to be Solitary Confinement. Like other Hearts games, it revolved around emotions and personal relationships. In this game, players had a type of electronic necklace that featured a symbol on the back that they could not see. So they had to rely on other players to know their symbol in order to say the correct symbol. But these symbols changed every round, so it was very difficult to guess. The problem was that if you made a mistake by saying your symbol, you were quickly eliminated from the game. The interesting thing about this game is that it had no time limit, and one might think it would be easier, but trying to put your life in someone else's hands made it a more tense game. The object was for players to discover a Jack of Hearts among their ranks and force him to guess his symbol incorrectly. Really, to win this game you must have a very large degree of cunning, as did the 3 who survived. The game, Dead or Alive, was the first game, and although there are some that we can consider worse, we cannot deny that it was desperate to see how they tried to survive. As this was the first game, it was in this game that they learned that once you enter you can't leave, because otherwise a laser from the sky will eliminate you. Being the first game, it is very shocking because at that moment Erisu, Chota, and Karubi are learning that if you don't win the game you just die. The game was about you having to choose between 2 doors, marked as alive or dead, but the door doesn't always correspond to the door signage. This game is a brutal introduction to Borderland, as it relies on pure luck and some guesswork. As players go through each room, their time limit decreases, making it harder to think and make a good decision, as the time limit causes more tension. If players choose the wrong door, they face certain death, or they may die with the toxin that filled the room before it caught fire. That was the reason the young girl opened the door, because she was feeling bad about the toxin and believed the other girl was telling her the truth about the door of salvation. But in the end, thanks to Chota's video, Arisu was able to remember some construction details of the building and was able to analyze what the real exit was since there was a small trap. Here we realized how smart Arisu is. The Witch Hunt, 10 of Hearts. The first season of Alice in Borderland ended in a bloodbath, as the survivor community of the beach fell after the final game. 10 of Hearts, dubbed the Witch Hunt, began with the discovery of Momoka's corpse in the lobby of the beach, as she had been killed by a witch. All the inhabitants of the beach were tasked with burning the alleged witch in the judgment fire, with no limits on killing each other. When their survival instinct kicked in, they began to turn on each other. The military forces on the beach instilled fear in the remaining survivors, causing distrust to spread as dozens of innocents were thrown into the fire, and no one was safe. It was later discovered that the witch was Momoka. All players had to do to beat this game was burn her body to advance to Phase 2. Beauty Contest, King of Diamonds. The King of Diamonds game was all about math, wits, and luck. It involved 5 players, who had to chain themselves to a seat with a tablet in front of them. At the start, they had to choose a number between 0 and 100, and the player's average answer was multiplied by 0.8. The player with the answer closest to the median won the round, while everyone else had 1 point deducted from their score. At first, this game could be seen as relaxed until we realized that if you lose you will get sulfuric acid. Players would lose when they reached -10 points, and then the balance scale would fall on them. As it progressed, luck became important as well. It should be mentioned that Shishiya won this game, but it was because the King of Hearts let him win. Survival, King of Spades. The second season of Alice in Borderland began with all the players taking multiple shots at the King of Spades. He started the shooting at the Shibuya intersection, armed with a machine gun with pinpoint accuracy, brutally gunning down everyone. He would stop at nothing as he pursued his victims, leaving countless people eliminated. This particular game was a bit strange because it had no rules. It was just a gentleman with military skills shooting everyone. You would think it was easy, but apparently it seemed unfair because he could take you out without you noticing, and there was no fair way to defend yourself. Although the main characters wanted to ignore this king, they realized that they had to face him to win the game. For that reason, between all of them, they devise a plan to attack in order to defeat him. Due to the military training of the King of Spades, the guys found it very difficult to confront him, and that confrontation left everyone wounded and on the verge of being eliminated. But then, a Goonie pulled out his strength and finally eliminated him. Let me know what was for you the most dangerous or tense game of the first or second season of Alice in Borderland. Leave your comment so we can read it. We will be uploading videos of your favorite series.